I'm Pat Freeman here with my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, Pat?
We're back here on the network, and once again, we are still on the political scene. And we're going to zero in our conversation today with the Republican presumptive presidential nominee, Mitt Romney, making a lot of noise. We want to talk about some of the things that he just doesn't want to talk about. Hasn't discussed them very much at all on the campaign trail. But there's certain things we need to talk about before we get to that. And I think it deals with his behavior. And the issue in question is starting to come up about the erratic comments that he's been making. Does this guy have symptoms of Asperger's syndrome?
Well,
what do you think?
It's not. It seems to be something that runs deeper than typical conservative antisocial behavior.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I looked up the Asperger's syndrome, and I've seen a few things that kind of fit in with Romney. Asperger is something that it's an illness that's tied into what's that disease?
Autism.
Autism. Yeah, it's a part of autism. Okay, and autism, of course, overall, you're not completely there. You understand what I'm saying? Not mentally. You're alive and everything, but you don't acknowledge people in the same way that others do. All right. Asperger's syndrome draws from that in several different categories. All right. Say, for example, the lack of demonstrated empathy. Lack of empathy is a symptom of Asperger. Failure to develop relationships. Okay, lack of social or emotional reciprocity. I'm tearing this word up. Reciprocity. Selective mutism has having to do with either he doesn't talk as much as he should sometimes, or talks too much about things that are things that are just narrowly related.
I like the trees in Michigan.
Trees in Michigan.
I enjoy eating pancakes.
You tell him you mention down south to him, he'll tell you grits.
Grits are good.
Yeah, I love grits. That's called mutism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Inflexible routines. Does the same thing. Talks about the same thing all the time. Deals with the same people all the time. Does not able to expand upon his relationships. Stereotypical. In other words, it narrows it down to what they call stereotypical behavior. Mm-hmm. These people are like they're their own walking stereotype.
Right.
So Asperger's syndrome is something you want to do you want this in the White House? That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with dealing with the person of that. You know what I'm saying? They're functional in society, pretty normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But do you want somebody like that in the White House, especially a Republican?
Right. And it seems that if he moves away from the script, he gets in trouble.
Exactly.
I mean, the comments after President Obama was misquoted about the economy, saying that the private sector is okay. His people said it's time for you to pounce on it, attack President Obama.
Yeah.
In his attack, it seems that he left the attack script and said, we don't want policemen or firefighters. We're not going to hire them. Yeah. And you could see that somebody had to be in the background saying, cut, no, you're ruining the attack.
Right.
He is incapable of running for an office of this nature that everything about you is totally going to be looked at. When he was in a presidential field of Republicans of 7 or 8, as it's begun to narrow, and the focus is going to be totally on him, I think he's got a serious problem.
I think so. The thing is, this is not, when you mention what you talked about before, I'm trying to think of that. Well, anyway, like I say, it's not good, okay? But I'm trying my best to remember because it reminds me of something about him years ago, and it's a common thing with conservative people in the first place, and that is that they don't, there's a lot of things they just miss, okay? you know, conservatives are by nature, they're very pro-police.
Yes.
Okay, they're very pro-firemen.
Yes.
Now, when I've seen over the last several years, not just with Mitt, but with others, that all of a sudden, if Obama says, okay, let's give these cops a raise, let's give the firemen a raise, they're, oh no, we won't do it.
Right.
Okay, I thought these were your boys, the policemen.
Yeah,
okay.
They've rejected the jobs bill, which would have put policemen, and firefighters, and teachers back to work.
Exactly.
He's now trying to say that the federal government doesn't hire policemen, firefighters, and teachers. This is done at the local level. That's not true. The federal government provides tens of millions of dollars around the country for the hiring of police.
And how can you be living? How can you want to live in D.C. and make a statement like that? Which is the capital of police agencies.
Also, Chris, let's move to another area that he tries to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And we're dealing with the doctrine of his religious faith, and that's the Mormon religion. I think he's got a sincere problem with Christian, conservative, right-wing voters. I do not believe they're going to support Mitt Romney. Once you start examining the facts about the practices of the Mormon doctrine and religion, I cannot see Christian, conservative, right-wing voters supporting Mitt Romney. And I don't know if they're going to support President Obama either. I think they're going to go with an alternative candidate that fits the profile.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
at this late date, it might be too late for them.
No, you've got a libertarian guy that's going to be on there.
Okay.
That really fits the Ron Paul type feature.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going to support Mitt Romney. I cannot see it. What are some of the things behind the Mormon doctrine and faith that might scare off right-wing fundamentalist Christians?
Well, you got to go way back. You got to go back a ways. 1949, the Church of Latter-day Saints First Presidency issued the following statement dealing with on the issue of race.
Okay.
And it says the attitude of the church with reference to Negroes remains as it has always stood. It is not a matter of the declarating of a policy, but of direct commandment from the Lord, on which is founded the doctrine of church, from the days of its organization, to the effect that Negroes may become members of the church, but that they are not entitled to the priesthood at the present time. And this is the first presidency of the Negro question. I guess a conference that was held back in August 17, 1949. You know, so they had race issues.
Yes.
From way before we were born. Okay. You know, and a lot of people talk about, you know, everybody talks about 1978. I remember 1978 when they had they lifted the ban on blacks as far as saying, you know, blacks were cursed.
Right.
All right. I've debated back then with some Mormons because they told me. I remember one guy with a couple of Mormons living on Fillmore, and they told me, you know, black people are cursed. I said, where is this in the Bible? They couldn't show me. I said,
right.
Then one guy says, well, I got the Book of Mormon. I said, that's not the Bible.
Right.
The Book of Mormon is not the Bible. I said, show me in the Bible, and they couldn't do it. But they continued telling me that it's in the Bible. So there is there's some very how can I put it ingrained feelings based on these early writings.
What about Bruce McConkie and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles?
Right here, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, this says, those were less valiant in the pre-existence, and who thereby had certain spiritual instructions upon them during morality, are known as the Negroes, and all sent to earth through the lineage of Cain, the mark put upon him for his rebellion against God and his murder of Abel, being a black skin. The Negroes are not equal with other races. It is the Lord's doing. This is, of course, the Mormon doctrine. I guess it was called or something like that. And as you said before, this was the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, whatever.
It's the Mormon doctrine of the 10th printing, pages 527, 528.
Yeah, but right here, this very racially divisive
Right.
language. Okay.
Let's talk about something else with it, beyond race.
Yeah.
We're talking about why he will not get the white, conservative, right-wing Christian vote. I also think his great-grandfather had 5 wives.
Yeah, 5 wives, exactly.
We're talking about their rejection of the basic tenet of Christianity, which is the Trinity. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. They do not believe that. They believe that each one of those have a separate divine value within itself. Mormonism is a cult with diverse differences towards Christianity.
Yes.
And I do believe they are going to fundamentally, they may not outwardly say it because they don't want to help President Obama. But I don't believe that the right-wing Republican Christian sect is going to come out strongly in favor of Mitt Romney.
No, I'll go along with the same thing. You know, anybody who holds on to ancient beliefs, any faith, especially any candidate that belongs to one of these faiths. I mean, okay, granted, there were people in the Bible, in Hebrew scriptures had people who had multiple wives. Okay, prominent Bible characters, David, Solomon, people like this, had more than one wife.
That's old.
After Christ, that was stopped.
Right.
Christ says nope, no more.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. All right. So and that's it. Here's the Mormons. All we're still going to do it. Mormons, they're in their own universe. They're out there in their own universe somewhere.
Also inbreeding.
We didn't even get on that. Okay, we talked about that weeks ago, I think.
Inbreeding.
But yeah, inbreeding, going father, daughter, whatever the case may be. Not clean, not normal, okay, not safe. So you're taking a risk when you run with Mitt. Remember that.
Mitt has some fundamental differences beyond politics that does not fit into the scope of Christianity amongst Republicans in this nation.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about something else. Mitt Romney feels he wants to repeal abortion on a national level and make it on the state level. In other words, make it state rights.
States' rights, yeah.
So you're going to have people crossing state lines for abortions.
Now, why? Here's the thing. This is the old saying: if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
Okay. The abortion was settled way back in the late '60s. Okay, Roe versus Wade. I don't know if Mitt Romney ever heard about that.
He wants that repealed.
You know, I don't know if he knows its existence.
Right.
You'd have to give him a call and say, "Do you realize that there's a law against this? You know, you can have this. The women can do this. Women are now looking at this like, hey, you're not going to tell me what I can do with my body. All right, that's how they're viewing it. Mitt, with this ancient believing self, okay, like I said, he's all for the state. He's all about the states. You know, Mitt Romney is still living in the days of Brigham Young.
Yes.
Okay, he's still riding horseback and everything, and telling people the British are coming or whatever the case may be.
Right,
you know,
right.
That's where Mitt Romney is still living in.
And the fact of the matter with abortion, he's flip-flopped on that issue 2 or 3 times. He said that he would, when he was running for Senate and running for governor of Massachusetts, he said that he would protect a woman's right to choose. Now he's saying, trying to attract the conservative Republican base, that he agrees with the platform of the Republican Party, which is pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing he has flip-flopped on, big time. He said as soon as he's elected president, he will repeal Obamacare. Obamacare is based on Romney Care out of Massachusetts.
And
and now he's against...
What's the provision of Obamacare regarding abortion? Okay, I never looked that up. But Mitt is going to have to. You can't get on your horse today and run around saying the babies are coming.
Right.
You got to ask every individual pregnant woman. Okay, you can't do this. You can't make that declaration. You have to ask. It's up to them, and that's a federal law that protects them. That's it. There's nothing more you can do. Now, all they want to do is get into office, and here's another thing. They want to repeal everything Obama's done.
Right.
Didn't they want to do that the last midterm?
Yes.
Were they able to do anything?
No.
No. What makes you think they're going to be able to do it now?
No, they're not. He's going to have a rough time as the election season really starts coming in and people start examining the real Willard Mitt Romney. They're going to find out that this guy is a tremendous flake. He flip-flops more than any political person I've ever seen. And when it comes down to now, once it's officially declared one-on-one with him and President Obama, you have got to be out of your mind not to support the president in his bid for re-election. A person that saved this country, brought it back from the brink of destruction, lost more than 800,000 jobs before he took an inauguration. And Mitt Romney, now get this, he says now, I am against the stimulus. Before, he was for the stimulus.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, see, people, when you vote, and I'm talking to Republicans in particular, get past what you don't like. Get into what you need. Your candidates don't have it. They don't have IT.
Nothing.
Okay? Get into what you need and get with the candidate who's with accomplishments. Not with the lots of pipe dreams like your candidates in the midterms did. Okay? Get with the guy who delivers. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Hey, we talked about it here on the network. The controversy surrounding the candidacy of Mitt Romney for president in 2012. I think he's got some serious problems. And I think this is why you do not see this great ballyhoo of support around Mitt Romney. You're seeing dollars pour in. Hopefully they can convince a common person to support him. But you're not seeing that big ballyhoo of support surrounding Mitt Romney's candidacy. And I think when all's said and done, President Obama, who is turning around this economy, turning around the world, will eventually win re-election. And it should not be close. It should not be close with the accomplishments of what this man has done over the last 3.5 years. So we're going to talk more about this as the weeks go on here on the network. This is my buddy Chris Stevenson. Chris, tell them your blog site where people can get more information about some of the subjects we talked about.
TheBuffaloBullet.com. TheBuffaloBullet.com has columnists like myself, Charles Blow, Patrick Freeman, Alberta Parrish, Gloria Doolin Wilson, and others who give you fearless commentary, political commentary, sports commentary, whatever. Check out the Buffalo Bullet, www.com, thebuffalobullet.com.
All right, that's all for us here on the network. We'll see you right here next week on the network.